Hello, this is an assessment for restoration of a Steinway Grand Model O 1913. The piano's had very little work done on it since it was made, a little bit in 1967, but the client's mainly saying that the tone is thin, which is true. It's a bit better at the very top, but the bass is also thin. So let's see what factors go into improving the tone. Well, first of all, the strings, restringing the piano will definitely bring much life into it. The bass strings especially, the copper, as it goes, it starts to get impregnated with dirt and starts to sound a bit tubby. The tuning pins are very tight. Now, there's a question we have to decide here what to do, because if we replace the tuning pins, we have to put a bigger size in, and we could replace the rest plank that's underneath the tuning pins. There's the rest plank from underneath. There's no damage to it really, so it's a question of whether we replace it or not. If it's a stock piano, if it's one of our pianos that we're selling, we invariably replace the rest plank if we're doing a lot of other work on the piano. But this client would be perfectly okay not having the rest plank replaced. It's a shame perhaps not to do it though once you've got the whole piano apart. The damper system looks in extremely good condition. You can see it's got the sostenuto felts here, though it's got no third pedal, no sostenuto pedal. Sostenuto pedal can be fitted, it's possible to do that. Pedal mechanism is working well, there's no real noise on either pedal. Now the soundboard is in good condition. If we are to take the whole piano apart, we would find that some soundboard cracks appearing. These aren't affecting the piano at all, it's just something that when you fully restore a piano you do also fill any soundboard cracks that might be appearing. This is the soundboard from underneath, and well, once the frame's taken out, once the soundboard's been allowed to be in a workshop for a while, we'd also dry it out just to see if any cracks opened up. We would probably find something to do here, though the soundboard is in very good condition actually. For this age of the instrument, it's excellent. Now the felts at the top of the pedal here are a little bit worn. It's really cosmetic because they're not actually affecting the performance particularly. Now looking at the action here, this is the middle of the action where the hammers wear the most because that's the area you play it. Yes, they are quite flat really. They could potentially be refaced, but another thing the client has said is that the action is too light, so we will definitely replace these hammers. It is a much better job than refacing anyway, except that hammers have to take time to settle in, so if you do have piano restored, the hammers need settling in a bit once it's been done, and they reach their optimum tone after about a year or so. These are the rollers under the hammers. There's main wearing part, apart from the hammers themselves, and you can see the rollers are quite indented, and there's also a lack of graphite on there's a lack of graphite here on the jacks, so that needs graphiting. Not terribly serious, but something we do when we restore the piano. The bottom lever's in good condition. We have to decide whether we change that or just recondition it. Probably doesn't need changing. However, when we change the hammers, we always change the shanks and rollers because the hammers, shanks, and rollers together, because these hinges wear, and that's if they're worn differently, that gives a very different touch on each one. So it's really important that those hinges are at the same tightness. And on new ones made by Renner, and we work together with Renner, is opposite our Sevenoaks showroom, and that's really important so that our hammers are a bit loose anyway. Now, looking under these keys, there's a slight evidence of moth, but don't seem to have done that much damage under the keys. Because we found a bit of moth, we've taken the whole of all the keys out, and let's look along these to see how much moth there is. Well, we'll replace these felts and treat for moth just in case anyway. While we've got the whole thing, there's probably one of the worst ones up there, but still functioning. The back rail's also got a few evidences of moth, and the front rail not really. So it is functioning and will continue to function as it is, but while it's been taken apart, obviously we're going to replace those. Forgot to mention that the key bushings, they're relatively tight, but they're a bit loose at the front, so either we regulate or we replace them depending on how worn they are. While the top action's off, it's also a good opportunity to test, see if there's any of the ivories are loose. I don't think any of these are loose, but they make a different noise when you tap them if they are loose. I'm not expecting these to be loose because none of the fronts have come off. Sometimes you see a line there where the front has come off before and it's been stuck back on, so then you'll find other loose ones too. Looseness is largely caused by drying out of the piano. It's an indicator that the piano is dried out. Looking at the regulation of the piano, the action's performing pretty well as it should do. The springs are quite good, but when we put new hammers on, the springs will need tightening, or we might need to replace them and tighten them. We might do the bottom action. These are some questions we've got to ask and decide. Obviously cost comes into it as well, whether we do the levers or not. And the sharp keys on this piano have got some fingernail marks, which is obviously just cosmetic, but we could redo those. So just to finish off with, when we redo the piano, obviously we take the frame out and we have to look at the bridges, see if they need recapping or not, and then just to see what the down bearing will be, whether that needs increasing, so to measure that. And then of course the soundboard and the frame will be refinished. Normally we can buy the Steinway badge there exactly the same, so it's called a decal, so that's something will be replaced as well. Well, last of all, looking at the case of the piano, we can see that's rosewood. If it was repolished, it would really bring out more of the grain. We're privileged to have what the trade regards as one of the best polishers in the country working with us, so that's very encouraging, and we're trying to encourage clients to get their pianos polished for that reason. If you want to see examples, on the website one or two, and also come to the workshop in Oxford to have a look. There's the side of the piano. Definitely will look quite superb once it's repolished. So that's a Steinway Model O 1913 assessment. You can read a bit about it. We'll put some information underneath the video too. So already sounds nice, but it's too light a touch and it's thin. Can definitely made a much richer tone. So thank you very much for listening.